Hello students, let's read the problem. And it says, what is the total surface area of the triangular prism below? So we're going to be looking for total surface area, and the shape that we're going to be dealing with is a triangular prism. Since I want to find total surface area, then the first thing I want to do is bring the formula, right? And the formula for that is S equals PH plus 2B, okay? So where the P is the perimeter of the base and the capital B is area of the base, but we'll write it down in a minute. So what I want to do now is identify the bases, okay? And I want to outline the perimeter for those bases. So this is my base. So I am going to outline the sides for my base. This is my other base. And remember that the bases are always congruent and opposite to each other. Okay. So notice how those are triangles. Okay. So my bases are actually triangles. Okay. So how do I find the perimeter for a triangle? Well, that's an easy one. All you got to do is add up all the sides. Okay. There's no formula for perimeter for this shape because perimeter for my triangle is just basically adding the sides. So let's start with that. So let's find the sides that I'm going to be working with. Well, I do see these lines. I don't know if you guys can identify those lines. These lines means that those two sides are congruent. In other words, they measure the same. So I do see an 8. So I know that I can add 8 centimeters. And so I already took care of that, right? Plus, what about the other ones? There's no numbers, but I do see a 5 way over here. And remember we said that those triangles are congruent. Therefore, this measurement that I don't have is actually 5 centimeters. And on the other side is also 5 centimeters, okay? So I am going to add plus 5 centimeters plus another 5 centimeters. Okay? If you add up 5 plus 5 plus 8, that's 18 centimeters. And that will be my perimeter for my triangle. Okay? So what we can do is we can come back to the formula and start replacing values if you want to. Okay? So this is my perimeter. So that's the one that I will be replacing right now. Okay? So let's start with my formula. Perimeter is 18 centimeters. Then I will write down 18 centimeters. I am going to multiply that by the height. Now remember, the height is the height of the prism. And the height of the prism is the distance between the two bases. Okay? So let me find the distance between the two bases. So if you think that this line could be the height, you are correct. Because notice how 12 is actually the distance from this point, which is right here, to the opposite corner of the other triangle. You guys see that? Therefore, this is the height of the prism. So be very careful with that, okay? And notice how the height is never highlighted with the bases. It should never be highlighted with the bases, okay? So this will be 12 centimeters plus, there's the plus, 2 times capital B. So perimeter, it's 18 centimeters. So we already replaced that. The height, it's 12 centimeters. So we have it right here. Okay. Notice how the 2, I'm just going to bring it down. I'm not replacing that. Look, this 2 is the 2 that is right there. Okay. Capital B means area of the base. So what's the base? My base is the triangles, right? So I am going to need to find the area for the triangle. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight the area. So this will be the area that I'm talking about. is that space inside the triangle, or I can think about this triangle. Remember, they're exactly the same, okay? That's the triangle that I'm dealing with. Notice how 12 centimeters, it's nowhere on my shaded triangles, okay? So you can still see a little bit of the yellow one because remember, yellow is the perimeter, okay? So there is a formula that I can actually use for finding the area of my triangle. And the formula is capital B equals half of the base times the height. Now, I am dealing only with that shaded section that is green, okay? So please don't be confused and trying to use the wrong height. We're talking about only the triangle, okay? Just the triangle. So I'm going to write down capital B, which is area of the base, right? I am going to multiply half times the base and the height. How do I identify the base and the height from a triangle? Remember, the base and the height make a right angle. They're perpendicular to each other. So this is the base of my triangle, and this is the height, which is 3 centimeters, okay? That's my height of the triangle. So the base, it's 8 centimeters, and the height is 3 centimeters. So I need to find half of 8 times 3. Well, mental math. 8 times 3 is 24. Half of 24 is 12. And of course, it will be square centimeters. Okay? Now, why square centimeters? Because remember that area is always measured in square units. Okay? So now I'm going to come back and replace the value for my capital B, which is the area of my base, right? So I'm going to replace B. This is the number that I'm dealing with. Okay, so let's write it down on my formula. So I will write down 12 square centimeters. Okay, and hopefully it doesn't, hopefully you can see it. Yeah, it has green, right? So awesome. So now notice how I replace the perimeter, the height, the 2 stays the same, and the capital B is area of the base. Okay, now remember that in all of these, I'm dealing with triangles. Those are my bases. Okay, so I don't know if you want to come back over here and write down triangle, because I know I wrote it down on the other one, right? Just to be on the safe side. So everything is about the triangle. Okay, so let's finish up the problem. So you will need to just input all that on the calculator. And if you multiply 18 times 12 and you add 2 times 12, you get 240 square centimeters. Okay, now 240 is the final answer for everything. Okay, now remember that if the question was asking you only for lateral, then I would stop right after the blue, which is 12 centimeters, right? But the question is about total surface area. Okay, so my final answer for this is 240 square centimeters, of course, right? And the answer for that is letter B.